new season of Mama June just started, and this season looks like it's not going to be very long at all. The new season of Love After Lockup comes on towards the end of July, so this season's only going to probably be about 6 episodes in total. So I want to get into the first episode. We see June, and she's over at Pumpkin's house. After she didn't agree to pay back Alana the $30,000 she owes her, Pumpkin and Alana stormed out of the house, and Justin started ripping her a new one, getting onto her like, look, you're my wife, but that is out of pocket. You need to go to the bank right now and pull out that money. Otherwise, I'm leaving you. And I was actually shocked to hear like Justin threatening their marriage over that. But he's standing 10 toes down on this. And the producers asked June if she felt like this was Alana asking for $30,000. That's her money, or does she feel like she's asking June for $30,000 of her money? And June's like, oh, I feel like it's a little bit of both. I feel like June, what she does is she makes excuses and she uses that to downplay the situation and make herself not feel as bad as she should, because she'll try to put accountability on someone else, like, oh, it's Alana's fault because she's high maintenance and she always has to have her lashes and nails done. But the thing is, you were spending all that money and you weren't being honest that that was coming out of her pocket. She might have thought differently if this was coming out of her Coogan account. Justin was so frustrated. He was like, you're not about to play with my reputation by pulling this BS. And I respected the fact that he was demanding her to take the money out of the bank and make it right, because most guys she's dated in the past are straight users and they wouldn't want her to go spend money on her child because that's money being taken away from them. While June was over at Pumpkin's house, Josh wasn't trying to see June, so he decided to take all the kids over to Jessica and her girlfriend Cheyenne's house. And while they're over there, they're just sitting there chilling, and Jessica starts asking Josh, like, hey, do you know any, like, tall, handsome, smart guys? And Josh was like, are you guys trying to be like a throuple or something? And I was kind of thinking, I'm like, maybe she's gonna ask if Josh has any hot friends that they can try to have a baby with. But instead of asking for one of Josh's friends, they want to ask Josh to use some of his swimmers so Cheyenne can get pregnant and carry a baby. And at first I'm like, okay, that's kind of a good idea. They said that Josh has had 4 kids and none of them have had any health problems, and they're all adorable clearly, so they think that he would be a good option. Plus it looks like Josh has some super swimmers. He's had no problem getting Pumpkin pregnant in the past, and the last time they got pregnant they ended up having twins, so it would be more likely that they wouldn't have to do the whole process as many times compared to going to a sperm bank and it not working the first time, and then you gotta drop thousands just to try again and you're still not guaranteed. So they're trying to hint around to Josh, and Josh was not picking up on their hints, so they just kind of brushed it under the rug. I think they're just kind of feeling his temperature and feeling what he thought about it before making the decision if they wanted to ask him or not. And I just think it's also kind of weird though, because if they do use his swimmers, their kids are going to be cousins, but they're also going to be half brother and half sister as well. After June pissed Justin off, he had to get out and he just needed to get some stuff off his chest, and he wanted to get some advice, so he decided to take his mom, Mama Dukes, out to eat. And while they're eating, he's telling her, like, look, I love June, she's my wife, but she straight stole $30,000 from her daughter, and she lied to me about how much she put in her account. And the mom, she seemed extremely shocked, but you can tell that she still really cares about June and loves her like a daughter, because even after hearing that, she was still being respectful and really didn't have anything bad to say about June. While Justin was out for dinner with his mom, June was back at home doing a little candle haul, and she suddenly got a phone call from Anna, and Anna sounded distressed, and she revealed that she was in so much pain and her husband was working So she needed a ride to urgent care immediately. And June, she can't drive because she's like almost blind in one of her eyes. So she had to call up Justin, and she was blowing up his phone, and he's like, oh, there's nothing June can be calling me about that is that important. And he was ignoring her, but finally she blew him up enough. He finally decided to answer, and he seemed really annoyed at first, like, what the hell do you want from me? And June's like, it's an emergency, Anna needs to go to urgent care ASAP. Thank God Justin finally answered the call, and I hope he realizes from this point forward that he always needs to answer June's calls as she's blowing him up like that, because Anna's probably going to be having a lot more emergencies like this in the near future with how sick she's getting. So Justin ended up picking Anna up. They rushed her to the urgent care, and she was explaining to the doctors that she feels like somebody's just like squeezing and stabbing on her kidney. And I felt so bad for Anna because she just started breaking down crying. She was so vulnerable, talking about how she's only 29 years old. She can't believe she has cancer and she's dying. She doesn't understand why it happened to her and why she doesn't get to see her kids grow up. And it was just so heartbreaking. And I can't imagine having to go through that, especially having to go through that while you're being filmed for a TV show. I just think Anna is just realizing that this is real and how things are starting to take a turn for the worse. And the whole family and even Anna thought she was in the clear because she just recently had chemotherapy and she seemed to have more energy afterwards and her hair was starting to grow back. So they're like, oh my gosh, maybe this worked. But when it comes to chemotherapy, it may kill the cancer cells, but it also kills good cells you need. So it drastically weakens and stresses your immune system to where it becomes so much easier to get sick and get infections. There have been people who have had chemotherapy done in the past and then turn around and just got a basic cold weeks after completing chemotherapy. And that little cold ended up taking their life just because their immune system was so weak and compromised due to the chemotherapy. And the doctors eventually did some tests and found out that it was a kidney infection, and they admitted Anna to the hospital. And while in the hospital, the doctors did some tests and they found out that Anna's cancer was rapidly spreading and progressing. It's getting serious now, and June called the family and let everyone know that Anna is in the hospital and she's probably not going to be with them a year from now. Jessica asked June, well, what is going to happen to Anna's kids? And apparently all of Anna's daughters have a dad except her oldest, Caitlin. So when she passes away, the plan is for them to go to their dad's. But Anna's oldest has nowhere to go. So apparently Anna had a conversation with her mom and she told June that she wants June to take her. And I guess June is willing to do that. And I also feel like she feels like it's her responsibility, since just because she feels like she owes it to Anna because she wasn't there for Anna all her life. And June told Pumpkin and Jessica that, and once they got off the phone with June, they were concerned about Anna's oldest daughter, Caitlin. They feel like June has no business taking Caitlin since she didn't raise Anna, and Pumpkin feels like she needs to talk to Josh and see if they can take Caitlin in. And she ends up sitting down with him, and Josh is like, no, there is no way, we do not have the room. And I feel like if there's really a necessity, I feel like they could make it work because they're able to make room for Alana when Alana needed a place to go. But I do understand that they do have 4 kids and they have their hands full. So June stepped up, and Anna feels like that is the best option because she feels like Caitlin will always be taken care of financially. But Pumpkin's like, just because a kid's taken care of financially doesn't mean that is good for the child overall, because she was claiming that when they were kids, June didn't even help them with their homework. She'd pretty much be like, F the homework. She didn't remind them to study, and she just wasn't concerned about them doing good like a normal mom would want to be. So she's scared about June repeating that with Caitlin. And just a little spoiler alert, a lot of you guys probably already know, but June did end up getting Caitlyn. Caitlyn had a junior high dance just a few months ago, and they ended up dressing her up. Justin did her hair and makeup. She looked absolutely beautiful. June admitted that she gets emotional at times because she sees so much of Anna and Caitlyn. And I was reading a recent interview that June did with, I can't remember exactly who, but June, Pumpkin, Jessica, and Alana were just on this big press tour in LA trying to promote for the new season. And June revealed, as a lot of us already know, that they all decided to go on a family vacation because they knew that Anna didn't have that much time left. And apparently the cameras were rolling, and we're going to see that later this season. But Anna ended up getting sicker and sicker during the vacation, and she was able to enjoy it at first, but eventually they ended up having to cut the vacation short and go back home. As soon as they got back home, June took Anna to the hospital, and June said that the doctors told her that Anna was in the middle of transitioning to death. And June said she didn't really accept it at first. She just thought, okay, maybe it might be like another year or so. But then she realized she was progressively getting worse, and she ended up dying within days. And I ended up looking into like what transitioning is, as the doctors were explaining what she was going through. And I guess it is a transition is for cancer patients, including the initial phase of dying and support when moving between phases of treatment. The first stage of dying, when a patient's decline becomes evident and they're approaching the end of their life. This is different from a terminal diagnosis and is marked by physical and emotional changes that signal the body is beginning to shut down. Patients may experience notable changes in physical and cognitive function, as well as emotional withdrawal. The transition process can occur differently for everyone, and they recommend for some patients to spend the transition process in the hospital so they can be on medication to be as comfortable as possible. I'm curious why Anna didn't choose that option, but I guess she preferred to be back at home with family. And June was asked if the cameras were rolling when she took her last breath, and she said no. I'm glad they didn't film her last breath. Even if they did, I wouldn't be interested in seeing that because I just think that's filming too much, taking it a little too far. But like the transition process was explained, she started to become more withdrawn when she came back home, and she passed away in one of the bedrooms, I believe at June's house. But that is it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.